This Saturday, thousands of protesters took to the streets of London to march in support of the Palestinian people amid escalating violence in southern Israel and northern Gaza. Thousands of attendees bore flags and signs with messages of support for Palestine, criticism of Israel, and appeals for peace. The march began at 12 p.m. and ended in the mid-afternoon with a rally outside of Downing Street.
So what are you here today protesting?
We're protesting the occupation of Palestine.
Protesting the abuse of Palestine and acting like it's not equal to Israel or any other state.
The occupation of Gaza and the West Bank, well, more of like the segregation of Palestinian people within Israel.
Israeli regime's totally disproportionate and genocidal reaction to the terrorist attacks in Israel.
And what do you hope this protest does today?
Raise awareness. I think there are a lot of people that aren't aware that this has been going on for like 75 years now.
It's like there are a lot of people in this country who do not support the actions of Israel, and there's a general election coming up and these people are voters.
Some kind of solidarity between communities for a liberated Palestine.
This brings awareness, and I hope that the governments can come around and say, you know what, this is wrong. It's not going to happen no more, because at the end of the day, intervention is necessary.
Prominent chants from the crowd included calls to free Palestine.
Palestine! Palestine!
Rishi Sunak, shame on you.
Rishi Sunak, shame on you!
And from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
We'll be free! From the river to the sea!
The rally began outside BBC Broadcasting House, which had been vandalised with red paint earlier that morning in an incident that police have not linked to any particular group. The BBC has been criticised for their coverage by both Israeli and Palestinian voices over the last week.
We are standing in Parliament Square, having just watched Jeremy Corbyn's speech outside Number 10. There have been thousands, if not tens of thousands of protesters today. They marched from BBC's Broadcasting House down past Strand and into Downing Street area. We're now in Westminster, which is the end point of the march, where there's a huge police presence, and there has been for a long time.
Speaking on a platform erected outside of Downing Street, Corbyn refrained from saying free Palestine, instead emphasising the humanitarian toll of the conflict. He has in the past been accused of tolerating extremist voices, an accusation that he denies.
Water! Electricity!
The London branches of the University and College Union were also present at the rally. Scotland Yard had warned that anyone showing support for Hamas, the group responsible for attacks on southern Israel and an organisation which the UK government designates as terrorist, would be arrested. This protest is one of the first major demonstrations to be covered by the Police, Crime, Sentencing and Courts Act passed by the government last year.
Those who are carrying flags or other kind of Palestinian symbols are being talked to by police in Parliament Square, since this has been clearly marked as the termination point for the protests.
7 arrests occurred during the course of the main protest, which the Metropolitan Police attributed to cases of criminal damage, public order offences and concealing identities in places where this is prohibited under new Section 60AA rules. During the day, relationships between police and protesters were generally cordial and friendly, and families with pushchairs were commonplace. A barrier between the permitted and the non-permitted areas for protest was tightly enforced. Later in the evening, however, 8 more arrests occurred for offences including assaults on emergency workers, setting off fireworks in a public place, and public disorder. A dispersal order was put in place covering the area around Trafalgar Square and Green Park at 6 p.m. At around 10 p.m, the Met Police reported that 9 officers were being treated for minor injuries following incidents of flares, bottles and fireworks being thrown at police. A member of KCL Arab Society, who wished to be kept anonymous, told Raw that she had marched for the freedom of Palestine. She expressed her hope that, quote, the UK government can acknowledge the role that they have played in this humanitarian issue, hold Israel's government accountable for their war crimes, provide aid and support the innocent people who are dying, end quote. The president of KCL Israel, Orel Toblem, said that, quote, the ongoing horrors in Israel and Gaza have left all Israelis in distress, including those studying at King's. We support the inalienable right of students to protest. However, support for Hamas, a genocidal terrorist organisation, constitutes a serious criminal offence and has no place on campus. The university's refusal to condemn Hamas terrorism is absolutely shameful. End quote.
This is Raw News reporting from Westminster Square.